Hi there. Okay, I'm hearing that somebody wants to come back. Okay, somebody wants to get in touch with you, reconnect with you. But I'm also being led to ask, why did they do what they did to you? Because it wasn't anything tiny. It was something that really hurt you. Okay, so I'm going to have a look today specifically why they did that. Okay, I'm going to give you a heads up here. Also have a look at what's going on around them. You know, are they genuine? That's always my question. Or is it just because they've had their fingers burnt because they've gone elsewhere? So, you know, why did they do that? And also really, you know, what happens next? What's the outcome? What's the best possible outcome in all of this? So I shall give these cards a shuffle, and like I say, firstly have a look at why they did it, why did they do it. But while I'm shuffling, I hope you're all okay. That is the main thing. Thank you so much for watching and listening and all your support. I do read all your comments. It means the world to me. Thank you very much. If you'd like a reading, just click on the title of the video. The links are in the description box. Everything's on the website, and check out the free relationship report as well. Okay, let's get into this, shall we? Why did they do what they did? Eight of Swords. They were feeling trapped. You know, mentally they weren't in a very good place. Not an excuse, okay? I feel this reading is for you. You take whatever you want from this because you are the creator. This is your world, your reality, you know, but they felt trapped, they felt restricted, they had a lot of underlying anxiety going on with something. Okay, there was something that they didn't want to face. Okay, they didn't want to face it, they didn't want to deal with it. So instead of making a move or speaking out, they were possibly anxious about other people's opinions on something. They were nervous they were going to get pushed out. I'm hearing that whatever they did to you, had you found something out, you know, did they jump before they were pushed? But the underlying energy is they were restricted. Okay, there's also an element of someone being silenced here. Okay, someone was silenced. Okay, let's have a couple more. Why did they do? Let's get a bit of a bigger picture. Okay, but that's the overall energy. All right, bigger picture. Death in reverse. There's something that ended or didn't end. So if something ended, were they grieving something? But they had an inability to move forward. And that with the Ace of Swords is almost, they had a victim mentality about something. They weren't dealing with it. There's something they did not deal with and then lashed out at you in some shape or form. Okay, they were repeating a negative pattern. So the thoughts and feelings they had about something, they didn't deal with it. Okay, they should have grown from it. They should have been able to balance things out, but they didn't. Now, I don't feel they displayed this behaviour to start with you. I feel they were okay. But as time went on, they went back into repeated behavioural patterns, which really, really hurt you. They just didn't move on from something. The devil. Yeah, they didn't. They were still chained into toxic behavioural patterns, and that's why they hurt you. They just haven't let go. They haven't let go, you know. They could have cheated on you. If they cheated on you, because the devil can mean someone's cheated on you. You know, the devil's all about really ego, being in your ego, materialistic stuff, getting what you want regardless of what the hell it does to anybody else. Okay, if they did cheat on you, it's because they haven't let go of toxic behaviour. All right, did they pretend? I'm just hearing the word pretending. All right, but really what is going on, or what went on deep down, all right, why they did this, why they acted this way, is because deep in their psyche and their soul, however you want to word it, they felt hopeless, they felt powerless, all right? But they didn't go inside to look at why. They just lashed out. They just lashed out, and it was you they hurt. You know, the devil to me tells me that the relationship that you ended up in with this person was toxic, it was unhealthy. You possibly have separated before, a little bit in and out, always ended up going back. I feel you gave them a lot of chances. They could have had addictions with the devil. You know, they could have even been aggressive. Okay, you know, the devil can mean aggression. One more, please, to complete this pattern. But the Knight of Cups. Why did they act the way they did with the Knight of Cups? I think they are, you know, the Knight of Cups can be someone who love bombs. Earlier I said, were they nice to start with? Did they put up a good appearance? Because I feel they did. Okay, I feel that they did, that they put you on a pedestal. They idealised you, okay? They made you feel like the only person in the world for them. And then they pulled the rug. And for you, the most hurtful thing, and this is normal, this is what happens in toxic situations, is that we are still in love with the version of them that they presented to start with. Okay, the brain, that's what the brain wants, and that's why people go back and try again and again and again, and in the end, if you spend long enough in this situation, you find it really difficult to get out of. It's not your fault. I want to say that right now. It isn't. It's the brain chemistry, it's the psychology, and your brain will just go back because it wants more, because you are still in love with the version of them when they were in the Knight of Cups energy, okay? But with all these other cards, you know, Death in Reverse, Eight of Swords, the Devil, this person went from being very loving, kind, offering, they were just like a dream come true, to somebody who's just a bit of a fantasist, okay? And the key here is that they have a fragile sense of identity with the Knight of Cups, okay? So this is why they acted like they did, okay? They haven't dealt with themselves. They come into a relationship, you know, if they've gone to a new relationship, they will do the same thing at some point. It can be a few years later. Some people, I've seen it, can keep this up for a number of years before the mask slips. And when, you know, you thought you got the Knight of Cups, but you've actually got the Devil, all right? So that's why they acted the way they did. Now, why do they want? What's going on in their environment, please? Why do they want to come back in? Okay. They are in a manipulative environment, a very secretive environment. There's a lot of things that are just very, very dark energy. A bit dark, actually, you know, very negative energy. They're either with somebody or whatever they're doing in a manipulative energy. Bottom of the deck, the Hermit in reverse though. So the Hermit in reverse, if it was in the upright, I would say that they were actually starting to have a look at their behavioural patterns and their part in all of this, because they really did hurt you. You know, when someone goes from the Knight of Cups to the Devil and I see that, I know exactly what's gone on. Just pure pain. Just pain, okay? Pain for you. Pain for you, because it messes with your mind, your emotions, and you don't know who the heck you are at the end of all of this. But there's just a real messy energy, and when the Hermit's in the reverse, what I'm getting is that they're actually a bit paranoid, or there's somebody around them who's paranoid. Not, I mean, they might not be seriously paranoid, but someone who's exhibiting very possessive, controlling energy. That's what I'm getting. But there's still this restrictive energy, okay? And your person isn't really doing anything. It's almost like they're too fearful to move. Is there anybody else in this? Who's this other person? Who's this other person, please? The other person could be a water sign, okay? But I feel that your person has been used by somebody else who is now moving on. But your ex doesn't know what to do about it, okay? Well, that is a bit of a mess, but is this your problem? Because the bottom of the deck is Six of Cups. They do want to come back in, okay? But have they grown? Six of Cups is a reconciliation card. It's beautiful, it's lovely. But it can mean that nothing changes, so they come back in, and it's just an analogy that, you know, everyone starts playing Happy Families again. It's all very lovely. You know, texting on time, turning up, you know, being there for you. But then it doesn't grow. The behaviour reverts back to that was learned in childhood, okay? That was learned in childhood. What is the best possible outcome in this, I think, really? Let's just get to the key here. Best possible outcome. Five of Pentacles. No, it's not going to work, you know. I just don't feel at the moment. They could have financial problems, okay? Going back to the health, they could have massive anxiety, or they're connected into somebody, like I said, somebody who's secretive. What to do, Six of Swords, you're being asked to keep moving. You know, you've moved away from this. Six of Swords means you moved away from a toxic or a situation where someone wasn't very nice to you, they had an agenda. It can be downright abuse. Okay, it left you mentally, you know, possibly with, you know, stress disorders, that kind of thing. You might have needed help, okay? But you have had to get into calmer waters, and that really hurt you because the behaviour was very deceitful and it was cruel. You know, it's an energy of somebody leaving you, and they're laughing and they're taking all the goods and all the spoils, and you're just left. All right, and 2 5s as well. You know, 5s isn't, you know, it's all about change, disharmony, but the 5 of Pentacles means that them coming in is they're going to need your help in some shape or form, okay? They're going to need your help, all right? I think, you know, for you today, it's an energy reading, but the Six of Swords is telling me you've made the move. You've still got mental scars from this because they're not easy to get rid of. You know, we can do all the work, but if you've been in this for long enough, the triggers are there, okay? The triggers are there, and it's not an easy thing for you. So, you know, the message today really is, yes, they do want to come back in, okay? 6 of Cups. Is it going to work? I feel it would be very, very difficult for you. You know, I think there could be financial issues with the 5 of Pentacles. And in the end, with the 5 of Pentacles, I feel that you would end up feeling pushed out again, okay? And I'm hearing that you're quite comfortable where you are now. 4 of Wands and Temperance. You're quite comfortable, okay? You've got a good band of people around you. If you haven't, they're coming in. Look after yourself, okay? Look after yourself. Take care of yourself. Remember, you're amazing. You're just wonderful. You're unique. You're everything, okay? And you are very, very important. And your happiness matters so, so much more, all right? So, quick message, but I'll leave that with you. Look after yourself. Look after yourself. Put yourself first, okay? There was 2 sides to this person. The love bombing, King of Cups, and the devil, all right? Put yourself first. You're on that pedestal, okay? I love you very much. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.